and then you can just close it up there at the top once it starts, screaming. And I just close it and it just keeps on going. There'll be a whole bunch of feedback. So just okay. All right, we're gonna call the Commissioners Court meeting to order, and we're going to start with our pledge. American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, and indivisible. Commissioner Cochran is going to lead us in prayer.
Dear and Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance during these unusual times. Help us as we go through these uncharted waters that we may make wise decisions for the citizens of Hutchinson County. Please bless all the first responders, medical workers, everyone that is working so hard to ensure the safety of our people. We ask these things in thy name. Amen.
Thank you.
Right.
Don't forget that.
Right.
Okay.
Wear your mask. Wear your mask. Wear it everywhere. Everybody's supposed to wear a mask. Wear your mask.
Who's talking? Who's not muted?
I don't know who that was.
Mute all. Okay. Do y'all have any questions on the bills, Commissioners?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't have any.
I
don't.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve all bills. I'll second.
Motion second to approve
Chris.
the bills. Any discussion? All in favor? Chris,
Aye.
raise your hand so we can see you. Yeah, there you go. Okay, the next item on the agenda is to consider and or approve payroll. Kathy? Okay. Kathy's here with us.
I'm not sure why I'm here either. If they can't be here, I don't have to be here. Okay, this is the payroll for March the 26th, and the total amount is $844,078.90. And of course, we paid that on March 31st.
Okay, great.
Well, let me see, I got a comp report, which they can't see it, but I'll get a Cindy and Jan one.
I make a motion, we pay the payroll.
Second.
Motion and second to approve payroll. Any further
Larry.
discussion? All in favor?
Okay, and then our only change this time was Samantha Young. She went to work as a jailer on March the 13th. And then here's your comp report. Here's your comp report. Here, might as well give you one, Dwayne. And we might as well give you one. Here's your. Okay, this is the comp report for the end of March. And on the total, the hours are 1,092.23. And the dollar amount is $25,989.26.
Okay. Russell. Is Tara in the meeting? Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Item 5, any additions or corrections to our previous Commissioners Court meeting?
No corrections. That was March the 23rd, 2 meetings on March the 30th, and one meeting on April the 6th.
All right, again, if you're watching or you're on via the Zoom and you would like to make a public comment, there's the chat box. So just type in any questions and we will try to get those answered. Questions or comments? All right, item 7, consider, discuss, and approve any and all items necessary or pertaining to the county jail. Sheriff?
Yes, ma'am. So at the jail, we currently have 5 females and 27 males. Also, the website is now fully functioning. The email roster is available with bond and also mug shots as well. So it's fully functioning.
Great. All right, item 8, consider, discuss, and approve any and all items necessary or pertaining to the county courthouse. Red, do you have anything?
I don't have anything right now. I reported last Monday that everything seems to be ready to go as quick as this quarantine is over. We can get the people back into the courthouse.
Okay. Thank you. All right, item 9 is to consider and or approve nationwide retirement election of CARES Act. Kathy, do you have info on that?
I do. Okay, this is the one.
Oh,
Oh, the same thing.
no, they're just doing bills and stuff. And my email's not working.
Like, April, we can hear you.
Oh, shoot.
At least she wasn't talking trash on anybody. That's
Right.
always a good thing.
Okay, on the nationwide retirement, all this is, you know, the president has this CARES Act provision, and it deals with 401ks, 457Bs, and all that. And since we are considered the administrator of it, I talked with our representative, and this has to be signed. And what this does is it allows for them, if they want to withdraw out of their 457B or 401k or whatever up to a certain amount. But all we're doing is just signing off on it. Okay. Not anything else we have to do besides that.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. Thank you. And you're next.
What am I next?
The cell phone.
Oh, okay. Okay, the cell phone, the only thing about that is we have to come to the court for the cell phone. And we have a new one. Efren, you know, his cell phone, and the amount $50, and the effective date would be April the 1st.
Chris makes a motion that we approve that.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to approve the cell phone allowance for the sheriff. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, we're gonna need to unmute Drennan. Yes, you did. Okay, our next item, to consider and or approve the purchase of tasers for the jail. And we have Drennan Rogers with that information. Drennan, go ahead. We've got you.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Good.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
So if y'all don't know me, I'm Sergeant Vernon Rogers. I'm with the jail for the sheriff's office. Gonna propose purchasing 5 new tasers for the jail this morning. We currently use the Taser X26E. I sent over a PowerPoint. I don't know if it got to you guys or not, but I'm gonna do my best I can over Zoom.
The proposal that y'all sent over by email, I sent out to all the commissioners, so they should.
Fantastic. Yeah. So we currently use an X26E, which is this taser here. It was manufactured last on in 2014, so it is over 6 years expired. The most up-to-date taser is this one. The warranty on this expired back in 2018. So we purchased this taser somewhere around 2013. So they're about 7 years old in the jail. They no longer manufacture any parts for them other than the cartridge. They don't manufacture the battery. There is no service for them. So pretty much they're good until they run out of battery and we're no longer able to use them. When we contacted Taser to get an updated quote and to see if they give us any credit for these tasers, they told us they were supposed to be destroyed whenever the patrol got an updated taser. So patrol carries a newer generation than this one. This was the 2nd generation of taser. Now we're on the 7th generation of taser. So they're quite out of date. Just a little bit about this taser that we do use. It uses one cartridge. We can deploy it at one individual at a time. It only reaches about 15 feet. We have to be approximately 9 feet away from them in order to get a good spread on them to have what's called neuromuscular incapacitation, meaning that they have an effective taser deployment where they are able to be stopped. It's only a single shot, like I said. You have to remove the cartridge in order to do what's called the drive stun, which is a pain compliance technique in order to complete a circuit if they were to be tased, or if they were to do kind of like I said, a pain compliance, move them along, what the case may be. So again, it's a antiquated technology for us. Taser was kind enough to send us the new taser that they have, which is a Taser 7. It looks like this. It is a 2-shot cartridge, so you'd be able to deploy it at 2 people if need be. The cartridge that we're looking at for the jail is called a close quarters cartridge. So at 4 feet away from somebody, we'd be able to deploy the taser and get 1 foot of spread, which is good for the close quarters of the jail. Again, it does fire 2 cartridges, looks similar to this. The cartridges are way more improved than the last taser. They are larger. They spool from the actual cartridge itself as opposed to just being attached to it, meaning it flies straighter in the air, so it's more accurate. There's 2 lasers, if you can see behind me. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the Zoom, but it has a top green laser and a bottom red laser to show where both probes go. Our current tasers only have 1 laser on them that will only show you where the top probe's going, so you kind of have to guesstimate where the bottom's going. It has a super bright flashlight if you can't see on it as well. When Taser sent me this this demo model, the first night we had it, I had to deploy it in the jail, and it worked extremely effective, much more effective than the older Taser does. It has more updated technology in it. It still sends the same amount of voltage out, but it has a tighter pulse on it, so it works more effectively and quickly, thereby reducing injuries to the inmate and the officer. I don't want to get into too much of the details and stuff and bore you with it, but again, like I said, the taser for the jail that we have is the 2nd generation, whereas this is the 7th generation. So in the past 10 years of taser, they've really evolved pretty drastically. One of the key functions, though, that I will mention about the new taser that the old one does not have is what's called a warning arc. So if inmates are getting close to us, or we're fixing to have a use of force situation in the jail, and we need to warn that inmate, hey, knock off what you're doing, or stuff's fixing to get serious, we can turn the taser on, push this button here, and it is very, very loud and audible. Plus it shows a electronic arc across the front of the taser, warning them this is what's fixing to happen. I think it would dramatically reduce the uses of force in the jail. Currently, in order to do that on the old taser, you have to remove the cartridge, which defeats the purpose of having a taser. So you'd have to put the cartridge back on to deploy it. This, you turn it on, push the button, and they would instantly, then you'd be able to deploy it if you had to. So we got a quote for the tasers. They will either let you pay it up front or pay it out over 5 years. either way, the cost is the same. There is no interest on it. There is no service agreement fee, anything like that. It's either you pay now or you pay out in 5 years. They have a 4-year warranty on them. The quote I requested gives us the 5 tasers, 4 holsters for the right hand, 1 for the left hand, because we have 2 people in the jail that are left-handed. A target to practice on for when we do the training. 6 batteries that are rechargeable, which is a huge benefit. The old taser batteries, whenever you was depleted, you had to buy a new battery. There was no way of charging them. These new tasers, you pretty much take the battery out, dock it, get a new battery, put it in, and you're good to go. It comes with a docking station and everything essential for us to start, as well as 80 taser cartridges, which would last us a pretty good significant period of time in the jail. So for that entirety, it comes out to $15,040. So the initial payment that we would have to make if we were to purchase the tasers this year would be $5,440. That would cover the cost of the taser cartridges, plus the first year installment for the actual tasers themselves. Every year thereafter, for the next 5 years, it would be $2,400. So our initial payment would be $5,440. Then the next 4 years after that, we would pay $2,400. Any questions before I keep going?
I got a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
So we're looking at 6 tasers or 5, because at the top it says 2 access license. You got 1, and the next line you got 5.
Right. So the 1 license, from what I understand from the taser, we're only looking at 5.
Okay.
How it's worded on the quote is 1 main big access, 1 main license, and then the 5 branching underneath it. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
1 total encompassing, and then 5 per taser.
Okay. And then do you have money in your budget for equipment to cover it?
So currently we have in our budget $3,665.81 in our equipment budget. We were going to request that we move money from our training to cover the cost because the bulk of this initial purchase is $3,040, which is for the taser cartridges. And they will have to deploy, every jailer will have to deploy 2 taser cartridges in order to be certified on this device. So there's a significant amount of money going towards training. And there's going to have to be a lot of training involved because it's a completely new, different device we're learning. That answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Brendan, I have a couple of questions too.
Yes,
So after the 5th year, what happens? Can we keep that equipment and pay for the license again, or do we have to purchase all complete new tasers, whatever they have in 5 years?
Yes, sir. So it's not a lease program. All it is pretty much similar to buying a car. You're paying it out. After the 5th year, obviously we own the car, or we own the taser. The taser license agreement, what it is for evidence.com. So when you take that battery and plug it into the dock, it uploads all the information associated with that taser. Anytime it's been turned on, anytime it's been deployed, how long it's been deployed for, if there was a good connection. So what that license is allowing you to view that information as well as have it uploaded in their evidence.com portal. So it would be a monthly fee thereafter.
And do they, with this, have they said what the average lifespan of the taser is typically?
So currently, all tasers that are on the market have a 5-year shelf life. Obviously, ours have lasted a lot longer than that, but approximately every 5 years, they recommend that you upgrade a taser.
Okay, I have one last question.
Yes.
So it says that the warranty is 4 years. Is there any way that we could make that for 5 years? Because what happens in the 4th year if
Right,
those tasers break and we're still under the license?
I understand. That's a good question. I can look into that.
Okay, thank you.
I think before we go much further, that I don't believe we can enter a contract for 5 years unless it's, we're able to have it done away with in a 30-day notice. And I don't know if we can do this or not.
I think we can. here's my idea on this. Since we do not have the money in the budget at this time, my suggestion would be that we consider going ahead and paying it the $5,000 this year. And then in the new budgeting process, budget the rest of it. And then we can pay it off at the beginning of next October.
Pay the total amount due.
Yes, and put it in next, pay the $5,000 to gain access to these. And then in the new budgeting process, budget it for next year. Once that budget's approved, then pay the remainder of it and not pay it out over the 5-year. If we're gonna approve it, when, you know.
I'd like to see him get that fifth, like Chris was talking, see if he can get that 5th year on there, because after 4 years, that last year they could go something wrong with them.
Right, I agree with that also.
And I don't know if that's a standard thing across the board for Taser, the 4-year. It's just what happened to be included in the quote was the 4 years. So I can definitely contact our Taser rep and get back with you guys. If that's what you would like me to do.
Yes, sir.
My next question would be at the how urgent is the jail in need of this? Since you've got the one and your old ones,
right?
We do have a little time to make this decision, maybe.
Yes, sir. So the Taser that they sent us that I currently carry in the jail, we do have to send back as soon as I get done with this meeting. We've had it for approximately a month. The ones in the jail, the only problem is that we have one that has 74% battery life as of today. That's the one I just showed you. All the other ones are showing errors. So except for one has 20%. Once it drops below 20%, Taser recommends it's only used for training purposes. The other Tasers we have are showing errors, so we do not know how much battery is on them. So it's kind of, we don't know when one's going to give out, but we do have 5 in the jail and we're making do with what we have. I mean, we have been for a while now.
Brennan, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this the only company that sells tasers, or?
So currently that I know of, they are obviously the largest that do. One thing about Taser that, and I will say if we do purchase these, with that warranty and with having the Taser, as long as it's within its shelf life, Taser will be there to represent us in any event that there's an in-custody death involved in a Taser. They represent us on the legal side of things. With the Tasers we have right now, obviously they wouldn't be because there is no warranty. There is no, they were supposed to be destroyed. I don't know about other companies that I've heard. As a Taser instructor, I haven't heard a bunch. I know a long time ago in the jail, they used a product called the Phaser. But this is the most widely used product on the market right now.
Any other comments or questions from the commissioners?
No.
So if we waited a couple weeks and got more information like Larry was wanting, that wouldn't put us in a bind at the jail with the current equipment that we've got?
Hopefully not, no, sir. I'm not going to lie to you and say we need them today. We've waited, like I said, for a good considered amount of time. I can contact the rep and get back to you next week if that's what you'd like to do. Whenever you guys want to, he's available anytime I need to holler at him. They're just right over in Arizona. So.
I agree with Chris on that.
Do I have a motion to table?
I'll make a motion that we table this until, are we meeting next week or in 2 weeks?
Oh, well, we need to decide that.
I'll just make a motion that we table this until the next meeting.
Okay.
Second, Ms. Larry.
Okay, there's a motion to table this agenda item until we meet again at our next meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right,
Thank
great.
you for doing that, Brennan.
Brennan,
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are on item, excuse me, 12. And that's to consider and or approve pipeline crossing on County Road 2. And Dwayne's here with us. Do you have information on that, Dwayne?
Yes, this is just like the one we approved a few weeks ago.
Can y'all hear him?
This is just like the one we reviewed a few weeks
Yes.
ago. And they have another customer that wanted to tie into this line. And it's just another crossing a little bit further down the road. They're meeting all the county requirements and everything, and they just wanted permission to make that crossing.
Any questions? Got a motion?
Make a motion, we allow this pipeline crossing.
Second.
A motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Is this the way to be?
Waive the fee.
Yes.
Is that in the motion too? Who made the motion? Red? Was that to waive
Red,
the
yes.
fee also?
That's a public utilities.
Yes. Did he say? Red, was that to waive the fee?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, great. Thanks, Dwayne. And then the next agenda item 13 is to consider and or approve trading in 2 used 15-foot mowers for 2 new 15-foot mowers.
Okay, I sent y'all a copy of these quotes this morning. What we have here is just the 2 older 15-foot mowers that we budgeted to replace this year. And I went ahead and got 2 quotes, one for a brush hog and one for a John Deere. They're both very compatible with each other. There's things we like better about one, things we like better about the other. If you don't have the information in front of you, the John Deere,
I should have
okay, the John Deere was they're $19,500 each for a new one, and the brush hog was $20,000 each for a new one. The big difference in the bid price and the quote is that John Deere allowed $9,500 trade-in value for each of the mowers we're getting rid of, and 5-Star just offered $6,000 each for them. So we can get the 2 new John Deeres by trading ours in for $20,000. The 2 new brush hogs and trading ours in are $28,000. So my recommendation would be to buy the John Deeres and save the $8,000. They're that close to comparison wise.
Any comments from the commissioners? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we go with John Deere to purchase the 2 brush hogs.
Second, Larry.
Okay. And there's a motion and a second to purchase the John Deere. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
Thanks, Dwayne. All right, item 14 is to consider and or approve appointment to the Hutchinson County Hospital District Board. There was an ad in the paper to take applications and resumes and to send those to me. We did receive 1 resume for possible appointment to the Hospital District Board, and that was from Jennifer Henderson. So, and I believe I emailed that to each of you so you could look over that. Does anyone have any questions?
I make a motion, we approve that Jennifer Henderson for the hospital board.
Okay.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and second to approve Jennifer Henderson to the Hutchinson County Hospital District Board of Directors. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right, we need to unmute Jerry. All right, item 15 is our update on the COVID-19, and we're gonna get Jerry on here.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Do
I'm
you have an
gonna-
update for us, Jerry?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do a screen share.
Okay.
Oh, well, I guess I can't. It says it's disabled.
See that share screen at the bottom? Yeah.
I guess you have to allow it on my end. There you go.
Is it allowing you now?
Yeah, you're just sharing your screen instead of me.
Oh. Stop share. Sorry.
Okay, I'll just do it from what I got here.
Try now.
Try it now. Oh.
Yep, that worked.
Okay, y'all can see it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so what you're looking at here is the current Department of State Health Services update sheet on as far as numbers, total case count in the state of Texas, 13,484. Fatalities within the state, 271. They did start adding the patients recovered tab on here. So you can see that there's a little over 2,000 people that have recovered in the state. This is a little more in our area. You can see the counties around us that do have reported cases. On the current website, it is just showing Hutchinson County at 2. I'm sure y'all are aware we did send out a notification. We did have our 3rd positive case yesterday. These are counties that have fatalities with the virus in our area. Here is a map from our DDC region that shows the number of cases. Like I said, ours hasn't been updated yet as of yesterday. It should update today. Hutchinson County testing, and these are numbers that we've put together as far as our incident management software, and what we have from our healthcare providers. A total of 61 people tested. I said these numbers could be higher, but this is what we have in our incident management software. Out of the people tested, 3 tested positive within Hutchinson County, but some of those that have tested positive haven't been tested here. They've actually, I know at least one of them was tested through a drive-through testing in Amarillo. Testing timeframes, average of right now is an average 5 to 7 days. Some are taking up to 14 days as far as turnarounds on some of the private lab testing. It seems to be, you know, the private labs are backlogged as far as getting some of these testings, you know, done and then reported back to the people that are doing the testing. Right now, it seems like our delay is in the getting the information back to us. We did have a report that some of the private testing are starting to catch up, so we're starting to get a little better turnaround on some of the private labs. This is our personal protective equipment. As far as emergency management, we have submitted we've actually submitted 5 STAR requests. 2 of those requests have been filled with the state with masks, gowns, and gloves. We do have a decent inventory on masks, gowns, and gloves, which we've also put out on our D4H incident management software to let our healthcare providers are trying to keep a lot of this stockpiled for healthcare providers at this time. But we have a lot of it stockpiled right now to get out to them. Like I said, we're in pretty good shape as far as Hutchinson County with PPE. So if our healthcare providers need it, they can make a request to emergency management. We can get them some equipment. That's kind of how we had that set up. One thing that we've been talking about with the judge and then with the hospital, there is a panel that's out there that apparently our hospital, if we did have this equipment, the hospital can do more of a rapid turnaround as far as testing. But the issue is the panel isn't accessible right now. Apparently the government had purchased a lot of these and had shipped them to the East Coast. So getting our hands on one of these panels to do rapid turnaround testing is being a little more difficult. So we have submitted a STAR request to the state to try to get our hands on one of these panels for the hospital. We will do what we can. I talked to the judge about how we can try to see if we can speed up that process by possibly getting a hold of some of our state representatives to see if we can get it pushed a little quicker that way, so we can get the hospital some of this equipment they need. And then that's all I have.
Thanks, Jerry. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I got a question. Well, it's been asked of me. I know our county's unique. We have several towns within our county. I know we got to follow HIPAA and everything. Is there any way to say where the cases were in each town, or is that something that's not allowed by HIPAA?
As far as any restrictions on, I mean, we're giving out pretty much they're giving us out information that we can, share as far as county-wide. Just the information that we get is that they are a resident of Hutchinson County, because that's how they report it to the Department of State Health Services. I guess you're asking if we can release what community they live in. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. That basically that's what they asked of me if I'd ask that question. Because this county has 3 different towns.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of unique compared to other counties.
I mean, as far as what I can give you right now, we have one resident that is a county resident, doesn't live in a municipality. We have one that is a resident of Borger, and the other one is actually housed or residing outside of the county, but has an address in the county. That's why they were listed as a positive result for Hutchinson County, because their permanent residence is in Hutchinson County, but they're not currently being quarantined in Hutchinson County.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody have anything else for Jerry? Okay, thanks, Jerry. Yep. We do have a couple of comments in our chat box from Jesse Sheffield, and one's, I believe, from Don Bates, just thanking the Commissioners Court for appointing Jennifer to the board. We both feel like she'll make an excellent addition to their board.
Hey, Judge.
Yes.
One other thing, since I saw Mr. Sheffield pop up on there, Excel Energy, I want to kind of give them a shout out. They did make a generous donation of some PPE to the hospital. It was 15,000 surgical masks and 300 N95 masks. So a very generous donation from Excel Energy.
Thank you, Excel. Okay, we are on item 16, discussion and take any necessary action related to COVID-19 and pertaining to Hutchinson County. Kathy, let's visit just briefly about the conference call that we both listened. So Kathy and I were both on a conference call last week, Wednesday. I don't know, but I had a conference call every day, so I don't remember what day it was, but it was with TAC in regards to employees and leave. And was there something in particular that we needed to, I think it was the expanded FMLA, which is staying home with your children, that TAC was recommending that we do not allow sick leave to be used for that. That's probably because it is not currently in our sick leave policy, and we would have to amend our policy, and then that kind of opens the door for other unrelated issues. And so TAC was really recommending that if someone did need to stay home with their children, that we not allow sick leave to be used for that. And we had originally said we were gonna possibly consider sick leave for that other third. Any discussion on that y'all have?
How many so far have applied for it or filled out that form that Kathy has sent out last meeting?
For the child, we've had none.
Nobody has yet.
Nobody.
Did we need to amend that? Or?
Yeah, you need to.
Because we had originally said that we were going to.
Right.
So do y'all remember that back a couple meetings ago when?
I think it was like the 23rd of
Yeah,
March.
when y'all made the motion to allow that, and since that is, it goes against what our policy actually says, do y'all want to amend that recommendation, or how do y'all feel about that?
How does that go against our sick leave policy?
We don't have that in our policy at present, that someone can take sick leave if they're just staying home with their children.
Yeah, Larry, presently, our sick leave,
Go ahead.
okay, our sick leave may be used for the following purposes. And we have illness or injury of the employee, appointments with physicians, dentists, medical professionals, and to attend to the illness or injury of a member of the employee's immediate family. And like Cindy said, they just said, don't start letting your employees use sick time for other reasons, or you need to totally amend your policy. That was just what Cindy and I gathered from them. So we need
Go
to.
back to that one about injury to family and.
Illness or injury of the employee, to attend to the illness or injury of a member of the employee's immediate family.
Okay, so if the child is sick, they will be eligible for it.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the clarification I was wanting. I was thinking we were saying they couldn't stay home with the sick child.
Oh, no.
No, okay.
No, they do that now. That's no problem.
That was kind of what I thought we were doing to start with. I
Okay,
didn't know it was that we adopted a policy that they could stay home for daycare.
okay, that's
That
what
was
we
not,
did.
that was not my intention when I said that. I thought it was for sick children.
Okay,
So I may have misunderstood what I was doing when I started.
okay.
So do you want to, Larry, would you like to make another motion in regards to that?
I guess that we just need a clarification of what the rule says. It's that, okay, let's go back and talk about it again, because under the federal guidelines, that is, they will pay 2/3 of their salary if they stay home for childcare.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Okay.
Well, they won't, but we might.
They
We're
said
hoping,
they would. They
Yeah.
said they would.
we're hoping we get
Yeah.
that.
So,
First time they did.
yes,
Okay.
it's the 1/3 that y'all voted on.
Right.
Okay,
So we need to clarify that the 1/3 would be paid in keeping with our current sick leave policy.
I would like to make that recommendation that the 1/3 will be paid in accordance with current sick leave policy.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further?
Okay.
discussion? Yes.
On that, does that mean that if they're home just because the kid doesn't have daycare, that we will pay 1/3 if they have comp time?
yes, sir. Or
Okay.
vacation. Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
Comp time or vacation, just not sick leave.
yes,
But they won't get from sick leave, it'd be comp time or vacation.
true.
Yes.
Okay.
That should be consistent with current policy.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Was there any other issues on that?
I think that was the main
Okay.
thing I thought, that needed to be brought out today, so.
Okay, thank you. All right, does anybody else have anything in regards to the COVID-19 policies, procedures? Did anybody have anything?
Is this when we need to talk about how many meeting, if we want to meet next week?
We can, yes. Do y'all want to continue to meet on a weekly basis?
I think we need to, just because they say that our peak, if there is a peak, it hasn't hit our area yet.
That's true. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? Do y'all want to continue to meet on a weekly basis? At least through April?
Sounds good to me.
So that basically would just have us meeting the 20th and then our regular meeting is the 27th. Is everybody okay with that?
I think that works.
Okay, all right.
That's good.
We'll continue to do that then. Okay, let's get Jerry back on here. And item number 17 is to consider and or approve the burn ban or rescind the burn ban.
We're getting some pretty good snow in Borger right now, so it's pretty good. The current drought index is a 126, so we're still really doing in good shape on our drought index. So I'd say no action at this time.
Judge, you might want to look at the comments. There were some comments that were added.
Yes, I see that. There was a comment from, looks like Mr. Bates at the hospital, that the peak is predicted to hit on May the 22nd for Texas. Rural counties could be 2 to 3 weeks later than that. So we kind of know about a little bit later than the rest. So.
And I would agree with that as well. They're telling, as far as emergency management, that our peak is in a lag time, especially when you look at the national numbers. In rural communities, we're quite a bit behind the national average and even the state numbers that you're seeing. We're going to probably start to see our stuff incline, especially if testing times start turning around quicker, and we are able to test more. We'll probably start seeing our numbers increase over the next couple of weeks.
So when do you think the peak will be, Jared?
I'd probably, from what I'm seeing, agree with Dawn at the hospital. Ours is probably going to be looking at the end of May before we start seeing we'll start seeing an incline in numbers, especially if we start getting more testing done. And then it'll start peaking, I think, around that time.
Who is releasing that? All the info that I saw yesterday was saying like the end of April, the beginning of May.
Yeah, a lot of the numbers that they're putting out is a nation and national and statewide numbers. A lot of stuff that we're looking at is rural communities, anything that's slowly filtering into less populated areas in the virus, getting into the community spread into these lower populated communities. That's what I guess is the last hinge on looking at this community spread. It's slower to get to us, but we're also in a lag time. We have to catch up to that turning point, which is where we're at in a smaller community.
Hey, so that just the courthouse, of course, does remain closed to the public, and we are continuing to be at work. Most of the employees are here. We answering the phone calls, taking care of business. The judges are doing Zoom hearings, as well as myself for probate, a few pleas. So I think we're taking care of the public as best we can during this situation. So we'll continue to remain close to the public for now. We'll have more access to testing. Okay, there's a question. How long do you think it will be before we have something on the test so we will have more access to testing? We're hoping that we can make some kind of headway on that this week. Isn't that right, Jerry?
Yes, we're still working with trying to be able to test locally. We're going to try to see what we can do with that. I'm not a healthcare professional or provider, so I can't say how quickly that process will be. But I know that from everything I'm hearing from our local physicians around here and even the hospital, the testing is getting back quicker. Just not as quick as we would like, but it is getting back quicker. If we can get it to where we can test locally, would be a big benefit for all of us. But I think we're still we're still looking at a 5 to 7 day turnaround just to be safe.
Right now, Jerry, is this correct in saying that we're somewhat limited on the number of tests we can do because of the number of test kits that we have available to us?
Yes, that is a big, I guess the big issue is the testing kits that are available, and then trying to get more of those to areas that don't have that aren't as big hit as like we are. So our numbers are lower. But if we were able to test more, our numbers would probably go up higher. But getting those test kits, I know we do have some of the doctor's offices have said that they are going to start testing more just because they do have a little bit more kits available. So they're going to start testing more. One thing that was said is they think that some people aren't wanting to go get tested because they're afraid of getting out and getting into the community and going to doctor's offices. But I think getting people tested and getting them through this process. And then also, like I said, we've submitted a STAR request for additional testing kits to come into Hutchinson County. Those have been pending, and we've had that STAR request out for about 3 weeks now, and it's still in a queue and pending. So the more tests we can get in from the state, we'll definitely get them out to the hospital if needed. If they need to get some more, our private doctor's offices, we'll get them out as quick as we can get them in.
But they can still drive to Amarillo and get tested, correct?
There is a process to that. Using my own my own situation in that they have to first have a healthcare provider that pretty much screens them through that process, and then they contact the Amarillo Health Authority, and then they get some sort of a code to get into the drive-through testing. So they still have to go through a healthcare provider. It's not just drive over there, they get tested, and it's a little more difficult.
Okay, anything else? Okay. All right, the next agenda item is item 18, to consider and or approve disposal of obsolete office equipment. We have one request from the tag office for some calculators and a monitor. They've provided a listing that I'll give to Jan. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, motion second to dispose of that equipment. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. All right, item 19 is to accept certificates of completion from elected or appointed officials.
I don't have any.
Item 20, consider and or approve request for the use of the club room. I guess we haven't had any requests, have we? For any future dates?
I don't know if we have any requests, but we definitely haven't granted them.
Right.
So I haven't heard of any.
Okay, all right. We'll move on then. Item 21, consider and/or approve line item changes, transfers, and/or budget amendments. You want to unmute Mark if he's still on there? Let's talk to him for a minute.
No, there's not any.
Oh, okay, there you are, Mark. Okay, great, thank you. You hadn't received any. Okay. All right, item 22, consider and/or approve advertising, opening, accepting, or awarding bids. Anything on that, Mark?
No, I don't have anything on bids.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, item 23, consider and/or approve donations to Hutchinson County. Sheriff, you got anything? All right, 24, accept reports from elected or appointed officials as required by statute.
I do have county clerk, district clerk, JP1, JP2, airport, and Dwayne.
Okay, this is the financial report for March 2020. And on the second page, the ending balance in our bank account was $72,326.20. And our ending balance in our text pool was $14,277,048.80. And the text pool rate today is 0.46.
Wow.
Let's drop it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. All right, item 25, discussion of county judges and commissioners precinct daily operations.
I have a report I'd like to give. I think all of you received an email from the judge, from Allison Bass, about their services available for the county road highway improvement grant. I'd like to report that Dwayne has done outstanding work on that, and has about got the report finished. He should have a county road report for us at our next meeting, and that's one of the final steps. But is Dwayne still there?
Yes.
Yeah. Why don't you have him come out and give a little report to the commissioners concerning this? We are eligible for about $300,000 in this grant.
Yes, 301,000, I think is what the total is. And things are moving along pretty good with the road report. There's several paperwork to be filled out. Me and the judge talked this morning about some of the questions that answer on it. And everything's going along real good. It's just real time consuming getting that report done. Several pages.
So Dwayne, what was the amount that we received last time, Ray?
Last time we got like 386.
386.
We got like 360 the first time, and then they came back because some of the counties didn't take it.
Right.
So they give us some more.
So
we ended up with about 386 total.
Okay.
And this is right now we're at 301 with this one, and that may make a difference again. I don't know.
Right.
Later down the road.
And what were some of the projects that we did with that?
Seal coating.
Seal coated?
Yes, and I got 7 or 8 projects lined up this time, but equal to about 400,000. They always want extra stuff on there in case you do get a lot of more money.
Right.
And I've got that all done. Really, the road and bridge report and finalizing the paperwork for the application process and the resolution that the court will have to approve. And then as soon as we get that stuff done, we'll be ready to send it in. Okay. We can send it in on April 27th, as soon as they can take it.
Okay.
The thing I'd like to report on that, if you looked at that email, Allison Bass wanted to help us for $15,000, but Dwayne has done that for his normal salary.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you, Dwayne.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dwayne, but is Larry not helping him with it?
Not much. Not any, really.
No, we appreciate Dwayne. We appreciate whatever you're doing too, Larry.
Okay.
Hey, does anybody have anything else on that agenda item? Kind of business as usual at the courthouse. Everybody's just socially distancing and taking care of business.
So we've had any complaints or anything, Judge?
I have not heard any complaints complained to me. I think for the most part, the public is being taken care of as you know, to the fullest extent that they can. Are y'all still issuing marriage license, Jan?
We are, we're going outside to do that.
Wearing your mask?
We just got masks, so
Yeah.
we do, but we make them sanitize and we wear gloves and, yeah.
I wonder if Carrie's had any complaints to her office. I see that she's on there.
We'll unmute her and ask her. We can find her. There she is. Carrie, can you hear us? She may not have hers.
She don't have a camera.
Oh,
She can talk. Oh, she don't have a microphone.
oh, she
She
doesn't
don't
have
have a camera, so she don't.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, no one's made me aware of that. If there have been complaints, I think the tag office is really doing an excellent job of taking care of most of those. The car dealerships, as far as getting tags to them, they've come up with some procedures that I think they're taking care of everything.
I think they got an answer back on those tasers. I seen him chat something a while ago.
Drennan, I got an answer from Taser. If it's not too late to provide the information, sure, we can get Drennan back on here. Drennan, are you there? We're trying to, can you unmute him? Drennan, are you still there? Oh, that.
Yes, ma'am, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. We can't see you, but do you want to go ahead and give us that information?
Yes, ma'am. For whatever reason, it's not letting me connect my video. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, I just got off the phone with Taser. The gentleman said that on the paperwork, it says 4 years, but with the Taser 7, that's just a standard thing. It is a 5-year warranty no matter what. It's a 1-year manufacturer warranty, but they give you the extended warranty for 5 years no matter what. I also went ahead and asked about if we were able to provide that initial payment of $5,440 and then pay it out like Mr. Kaufman recommended. He said that is not an option with this. You either have to pay the upfront cost of the $15,000 or pay the initial $5,440 and the subsequent payments every 5 years. It's just how they work their system. So there is no interest or anything over the next 5 years. It's just how they happen to do everything.
Then what Red said was on that, we will have to have that reviewed for an opt-out clause, which I don't know how you could have an opt-out clause on it. We'll need Mike to check that.
I don't know either, Larry. That's the reason why it's
Right.
make a comment.
I'll get with Drennan and we'll see if we can visit with the Taser people and get something to Mike so he can review that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anything further? On the daily operations, anything? Anybody got anything? Okay, we do not have any struck off tax properties or tax deeds. So if y'all don't have anything further, are there any other comments or we do have a comment in that from Judge Ford. She hasn't heard any complaints. We have been communicating through email and phone calls. And I know our JPs are still doing magistrations, just video magistrations at the jail. So they're taking care of their business.
Any other comments or questions from anybody? If you'll just put that in the chat box, we'll get those answered real quick before we adjourn our meeting. Okay, I don't see anything, so it looks like our next meeting is going to be next Monday, the 20th at 9:30. And we will send out the Zoom link for that so everyone can attend remotely. Anything else from the commissioners? Okay, meeting adjourned. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good one.
Good to see you, everybody.
Bye, Larry. Bye, Red. Bye, Chris. Bye,
Miss
Judd.
y'all.
See you guys.
Miss y'all.